Hello and welcome to another episode of Fully Classic. Now we've rebranded the show completely because we decided to focus on classic cars from the 1960s and 70s. This example behind me, the beautiful Volkswagen Beetle, an amazing car. And this week we're going to look at all the mechanics inside it in enormous detail, particularly stuff about gaskets, flanges and valve seatings. It's going to be fascinating.
I'm just totally overwhelmed already because I've seen it and I knew you'd done it and now I'm in it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. But I mean, also because I used to have one very, very similar. It's got to have been the similar year.
It doesn't smell like your old one, though, does it?
Well, it has a, no, when I first got it, it did have this, it is a classic car smell, isn't it? It's just the best thing.
Oops, Daisy.
Oh, morning, Vicar. They didn't hear you coming.
Ah, you see, it's the
that's
trouble.
why
I
they're
need a bell.
reversing out in a
A
soundproof
man with a
car.
flag in front.
So just go through the very basic rudiments of it. So is it what, 1960?
This is a 1965
1965
VW
Volkswagen
Beetle. Restored to the highest level.
The quality of the kind of interior is, and well, the exterior is fantastic. So when you got it, then was it sort of?
It was
a bit knackered
restored to a certain level.
Right.
And,
So it wasn't like a
then my
rust bucket,
OCD
it was-
took over. I thought that's not good enough. That's not good enough. So then we then finished it off to the standard that
Right.
it is now, and then electrified from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 22 kilowatt hour battery pack in it.
Right.
Split between a battery pack in the front and back.
And the back.
Gives me about 100-mile range.
Right. Wow.
And it works lovely on the dial that I've got here because I've got 100%.
Right.
And then obviously 100%, 100 mile. Well, every percent is a mile.
Right.
So now I've got,
so at the moment you've got
93.
93.2 miles, and it does that. And you've, from experience, that is fairly.
That's about right,
That
yeah.
is about right.
Yep.
Wow. And what about regen braking and
Yeah,
regen?
we got
regen.
regenerative braking on now. So in fact, if I put it onto amps here, you'll see how that works.
Right. So it's sucking in the amps now, but then when we
So
go down
now-
a hill.
Now, in fact, put it on power mode.
Oh.
Yeah, there's two modes on it as well.
Right.
There's power mode, not quite ludicrous mode. There's power mode and eco mode. So when I flick it into eco mode, so the little green light comes on to tell you you're in eco mode. That gives you a little bit softer acceleration, more regenerative braking effect.
Right.
So when you're going downhill, there's more going back into the batteries.
Because I wonder, I mean, do you know, it's the most impossible thing to equate, but the original, what would have been a 1200cc
1200
flat 4 petrol engine, would it have been in here?
flat being the operative
Yes.
word.
But I mean, I don't know what
power
horsepower
as well.
What horsepower they would have had. I don't know.
I think it's about 30.
Oh, was it? Is that
Something
what
like
it was?
that,
Wow.
32 horsepower, something like that. It's not much.
No. So I don't know what. Do you know
it's
what?
not even measured in horsepower. It's
No.
more like pony power,
Yes.
something like that.
Tired old pony power.
Yeah. In fact, this will make you laugh. 0 to 60 time. We wanted to do a before and after test
Right.
of the power. 0 to 60 in this when the petrol motor in was a struggle.
Right.
Is the technical term.
Oh,
for it.
see,
We
even
had
to
to
get
find
to 60.
a long enough straight to be able to measure it, and it was something like 30 seconds or something.
Right.
Now it's 8 seconds.
Wow.
So it's just it keeps up with modern traffic and then some.
Yes.
Which is why we also have upgraded the brakes and suspension to be capable of coping with the extra power.
Right.
So you got disc brakes on the front. It was touch and go as to whether or not I was going to do that until I took it about 2 miles down the road after I converted it.
Yeah.
Tried to turn left and went, whoa, we're
right,
not going to make that. So disc brakes it is.
Right.
We didn't upgrade the rear brakes because obviously with the rear brakes you've got the added
You've got the
braking
regen anyway,
of regen,
haven't you? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, we've upgraded the brakes, the suspension as well. Has just got a thicker anti-roll bar on the front,
Right.
and what's called a camber compensator on the back, which helps settle the suspension down on the back.
And is that because it's a lot heavier, or is that what's the weight change?
The weight change is about, I think, 60 kilos heavier than the standard.
Right.
I think we
Which
measured
is-
it to.
Which is a slim person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's carrying a lot.
literally you,
No,
Robbers.
I just want to warn the car that it's actually carrying a lot more than 60 kilos at the moment with me in the passenger seat. Yeah.
With the batteries being split between the front and back battery pack, the weight distribution has moved slightly forward, which means that you haven't got that, certainly in the Beetle, that feeling that you're always dragging the back around.
Yes.
It's
and there were certainly occasions I remember, particularly in icy weather, where I'd do steering, but then nothing happened.
yeah.
You could sort of do that with the wheel and you carry it straight on. But also that power we've just charged this with, and I'm charging my car with, is hydro. It's pure hydro, isn't it? It's coming from that hydro plant there.
So we've even charged it up from renewable.
We're actually
home. I've got solar panels on the roof, and I charge it on a smart charging controller, which essentially diverts excess power to the car rather than put it to the grid.
Right.
So it's charged at home on.
No, I've got the same.
Solar.
So at the moment, though, I like the idea that we're driving along on a Welsh rain-powered car.
Yes.
Because if it
Drizzle
has But I think it's lovely. What I really love about what you've done is that everything about the car, other than the drivetrain, is absolutely bog standard. Because is that the ashtray?
Yes.
Look at that. That's so cute. An ashtray. But everything else is exactly the same. So the steering assembly, the gears, the pedals.
I mean, the concept of electric classic cars is to take existing iconic classic cars
and really leave them as they were.
Leave them as they were. From the outside and the inside, you wouldn't know it's electric.
Yeah, no.
On first look.
No.
I mean, from the outside, there's nothing to give the game away apart from there's no exhaust pipes.
Yeah.
And on the inside, obviously, the only thing that gives the game away on the inside is the fact that you've got this little gauge here.
Yeah. The basic drive mechanics of this car are fairly simple because of the age of it.
Yes, I mean, there's no engine ECU, there's no airbags to deal with, there's no complex electronics.
Yeah.
To convert this car, I wouldn't say it's easy, but I mean, somebody who's mechanically minded with historic cars and stuff can probably convert a car in, let's say, a week.
Right. I mean, is there a year where
I would,
after which they get hard?
I'm concentrating on iconic 60s and 70s cars that are things like a Fiat 500.
Yes.
Volvo P1800. Do you remember the Saint series?
Oh, really? Oh, those are cool.
I love those cars. Carman gears.
Carman gear.
Porsche 911s for people that have a little bit of money.
Right.
I think the cars of the 60s and 70s were really nicely designed, and they have a certain feel to them.
Yeah.
Certain emotional attachment.
Yes.
Bolting the electric motor onto the existing gearbox. So although I'm driving it in third now, and I started off in third, and I'm essentially using this as an automatic.
Right.
There's still the gearbox on the back.
The gearbox
so if you wanted to go
clutch as well.
into sport mode, you can put it into second, and off you go. And now we're in rally mode. Left over bridge.
So you're changing it. That is extraordinary, isn't it? That is so bizarre.
Yep.
So it will start off in. I didn't even realise when we started off. We were in third gear when we started off.
Yep.
It didn't go.
Oh, no, it's fine.
It's got the power to push it off.
If you're in that late.
So then, if you were say on a fairly flat dual carriageway or something, would you bother to put it in fourth?
I'd put it in fourth.
You would put it in fourth.
Going 70 or so on the motorway. Put it in fourth, and it'll cruise up to 70 miles an hour.
Right.
Obviously.
Yes, because that's the legal speed limit in the United Kingdom. That's it. That's on.
So it's on. You can see that handbrake off. It's
handbrake off.
Driving test.
It is. What about that one?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I can't remember how big VWs are.
It's a lot smaller than
it is
Tesla.
Small, it's a bit smaller because I think that's what I've got Tesla fear.
Yeah. Oh, stop.
Oh, yep.
You have driven before, haven't you, Robert?
It doesn't feel like it at the moment. Yeah. Fantastic road to drive, because very often I'm testing out, a new electric car, and I'm in the middle of London or on a motorway or High Wycombe, and it's all motorways and junctions. And this is where they advertise cars, because this is the dream, but it's actually quite rare.
You're living the dream, Robert.
I am literally living the dream. This is such an iconic vehicle, and what Volkswagen are doing, which I think is remarkable, post Dieselgate. One of the things I've only just learnt about, which I think has been in the news for a while, is that the fine that the American government fined Volkswagen billions for their cheating on the diesels. But they said, don't give us the money. Prove to us that you're using that money to develop electric vehicles, which is what they're doing. I mean, it's amazing, because I ranted about that because I was so depressed about that, because I'm a VW fanboy. I love VWs. I've had every Golf that you can poke a stick at some point in my life.
There's a lot of sticks.
And one of these as well. There's a lot of sticks, and I was just so angry about it, because it was so kind of mean-spirited and cruel and like. So
I'm not
stupid.
a fan of diesels. I mean,
no, I've never been a fan of diesels.
The fact that they've now started going towards electric, they should change their name to Volkswagen with a T.
There you go. There's a clue. Marketing. Volkswagen.
Send my consultancy invoice to.
Yeah, I do. Yes, to the PR department. Volkswagen, Wolfsburg, where this was built.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the car is nicely balanced. So I put a lot of effort into making sure it handles, which wasn't one of the best attributes of a classic VW Beetle.
The classic VW, it was not built as a high performance racing car. Was it?
Well, that's all we've got time for, but I think you'll agree that is an amazing, amazing car. I absolutely love driving it. All the links for electric classic cars are down below. Do have a look, because I really want Richard to have success with this project that he's doing. It's such a brilliant idea. That's all we've got time for. Please have a look at the Patreon link as well. The Patreon supporters are really keeping this show going, and please subscribe to Fully Charged. And of course, if you have been, thank you for watching.